And let's head back out to Route 7 in Loudoun County. And again, live pictures from Chopper 4. Police out there, the state police have been chasing this guy on a motorcycle who has been adeptly weaving in and out of traffic. We don't know why they're chasing him, but he has been eluding police, at times going incredibly fast. Yeah, police have a chopper up in the air to kind of keep up with him. Yeah, you can see him at times slowing down and then accelerating extremely quickly through traffic. And at varying points, we've seen police back off and give him a lot of space. And then at times like this, where they're literally right behind him. And there you look at, he just weaves through the traffic. The police officers who are pursuing him have to go around that traffic, and there they are catching up to him, and well, we're very close to boxing him in at that one point. Right. This has been going on for some time. We don't know what his crime is, but now we have three cop cars after him, behind him. What we saw earlier, because it is rush hour out there, police were able to get traffic stopped, so that so far he hasn't caused any accidents as far as we know, because he is maneuvering quite well through traffic. But it looks like they might be cutting him off any minute now. He is starting to slow down a little bit, and this might be ending soon. Yeah, this is they're boxing him in. Yeah, this is Sterling. This is westbound 7 in Sterling. Wendy, you're exactly right. It looks like they had almost had him boxed in there over on the side of the road. But I guess they don't want to injure him. So apparently this started with a traffic stop we were hearing, and the guy apparently took off after that, and there he goes. We were just talking about when he sees an opportunity where he's got traffic that he can weave out of, and he knows those police cars and those vehicles cannot move as well. There's another car coming, the police car coming in. They cannot maneuver this traffic as well as he can on that motorcycle. Yeah, we've got Scott McFarland is at the live desk. He's been keeping an eye on this as well and trying to pick up a few more bits and pieces of information on it. Scott, what are you hearing about what weare seeing here in Loudoun County? Chris, with the size and scope of this, we now have more law enforcement agencies joining in to help and support Loudoun County. Fairfax police are there now. Virginia State Police are there now. You can see how wide-ranging this is, the geography it's covering. More law enforcement joining in to help either control traffic, potentially, Chris and Wendy, control the person on the bike. And yes, you were right, this did start with a traffic stop that obviously restarted shortly after. And it looks like I'm assuming because it's rush hour that where they were heading west on Route 7. Does Route 7 go? Now he just turned off. I guess because traffic is so bad, he's going back in the other direction where he has roads are clearer and he has better access. I believe he's going westbound on eastbound lanes now. I think he's going against the normal flow on that road. Thankfully, some of these roads are blocked off, and perhaps one of the reasons law enforcement does so, because oftentimes, well, now he's back. No, he is back going in the right direction with traffic, but he's been going westbound and eastbound. You've seen him doing the maneuvers. Yeah, and he's quite good at weaving in and out of traffic, as we are about to see. He's been doing this quite a bit. But where is he going to go? Where is he going to go? Well, that almost looked like there were some officers on foot there who had gotten out of the car over to the side. And there he goes. We had talked about he slows down and then he really hits the gas. And there he is accelerating extremely fast down the road again. And it looks like he's going into traffic. He's done that several times. He's gone opposite the flow of traffic, rush hour or not, obviously a dangerous maneuver. Yeah. Not only for him, Scott, but for all those motorists out there who could hit him, who could hit another car or truck trying to avoid him. And you know, looks like he's in the median. You know what Route 7 would be like. If this were not a federal holiday, you can imagine what Route 7 would be like. Far more congested. Exactly. And there's still plenty of cars out there anyway, because I guess a lot of offices, people do have to go to work in their private offices. And of course, the thing that's making this even more dangerous is with daylight saving time. It's dark. It's pitch black out there now, not even 5:30 in the afternoon. And you can see in some stretches of this road when he's going, the only thing you're seeing is that headlight in about 10 to 15 feet in front of it. And it looks like he sort of went off on a side street. I have a live perspective on this. You're seeing a 30-second delay. We'll obviously be able to notify you if it's something we don't want to show. The live image
it shows actually at this point something symmetrical to what you're seeing now. He's going with the flow of traffic on this span, law enforcement close behind.
And I guess they are being careful because he is vulnerable. He doesn't have any protection on that bike other than the helmet he's wearing. So they're not, I'm sure someone would say, well, why don't you just kind of block him and let him run into you? I think they're obviously being sensitive to not injure this man. There's different protocols for different types of vehicles during pursuits. In fact, if he was on a dirt bike, there are several municipalities and several law enforcement agencies that have a no pursuit policy. Yeah, there are things that get calibrated when you're talking about a motor vehicle versus a motorcycle or something even smaller like a dirt bike. Well, and also you wonder, I know a lot of jurisdictions, because there have been accidents when police pursue, that you wonder what they were pulling him for initially. I'm sure now they know a lot about this guy because they've been staring at his license plate on the back of that bike. You know, I just wonder at what point they might let him go and catch up with him later, track him down later.
Just put the tax down on the ground.
I'm not sure if there's aerial law enforcement above this as there is with Chopper 4. Aerial law enforcement gives you a lot more flexibility, but clearly we've got to read on him because there's overhead views. Well, there's also there is a searchlight from above on him, so, which I would assume is coming from a police chopper.
Yeah, and again, just to reset again, if you're just joining us, we have been following this breaking news in Loudoun County. This is a police chase of a motorcycle. It started with a traffic stop. The driver of the motorcycle was pulled over for a traffic stop and then took off on his motorcycle. And we have been watching this now for the better part of, what would you say, Wendy?
15 minutes?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes now.
And we don't know when we came in about 15 minutes ago. We don't know how long it's been going on.
This may have been going on much longer than that. We have Chopper 4 up above the area, giving you an aerial view. And as you can see, at times, his acceleration just completely pulls away from the officers who are pursuing him.
Kate, where did you say he is now? He's on Route 20? He's on Route 20 now. So he's on Route 28. He's just making use of, you know, the path of least resistance. And as you see, when he gets an open stretch, he guns it. So he's heading back towards Leesburg at this point. In about 30 seconds, you're going to see the rider, the operator of this motorcycle slow for a moment, then look back to look at what kind of police are behind him. He actually slows and turns his entire body, cranes his neck around to see the law enforcement behind him. It's about 15 seconds away. He's obviously measuring the law enforcement response here. So stand by, it's about to happen. And you got to wonder about what it's like for these motorists who are just trying to get home, and they've got all of these flashing lights and this drama playing out in and around them. And I imagine this is creating quite a challenge for police to figure out where he's going to go so that they can't sort of head him off at the pass because he's so nimble on that vehicle, on that bike. So again, this is a man who was being pulled for a traffic stop and then apparently took off, and police have been in pursuit of him now for a little more than 15 minutes, possibly longer. He's been on Route 7 in Loudoun County by Dulles, then he was on Route 28, now he's back on Route 7, and he's just sort of staying within that vicinity, just weaving his way through traffic, and the police just following him, sometimes trying to cut him off, but again, doing so in a way that they don't ram him because he's about to approach some traffic lights and a heavier flow of traffic here. This could get a little bit more dicey because you'll see some intersections coming up that have got traffic on all sides, and he's got to negotiate some green lights.
And at the same time, just about 10 minutes ago, we saw him blowing through stopped traffic, weaving in and out of the lanes in a way that some of the police cruisers couldn't follow. Again, Chopper 4 giving you a vantage point and a look at this that otherwise we'd have no way of being able to get with the amount of distance that he has covered and how quickly he has moved at times. And at times, it almost looks like he's got a police escort because he slows down, they slow down. This has got to be a tricky maneuver. It'd be interesting to talk to law enforcement after this and say, what is the protocol? What does the handbook tell you in boxing off someone like this?
Scott, you know everything more than we do.
You see, you have multiple jurisdictions and different law enforcement agencies pursuing, and there's always the possibility of a variety of response techniques and a variety of protocols here, but the lead agency is going to be the most local. It's going to be Loudoun County. Virginia State Police bring extra capabilities. Fairfax Police bring extra capabilities as well as proximity to this. But your local law enforcement agency is probably lead here, because I believe, if I'm seeing these cruisers correctly, when we get a close-up look, these appear to be Loudoun County cruisers. Yeah. So they're obviously running lead here. But they do train on this. Law enforcement trains on pursuit, and they train on multi-jurisdictional pursuit, Wendy and Chris, where they figure out how do they deploy together. Because often when you have a pursuit, it goes through county lines, it goes through municipal lines. So law enforcement is quite good at training on how to work together in high-speed situations.
See, I knew you would know more about that. But I'm sure that being on a motorcycle or going after a motorcyclist is more of a challenge. And what about when they put those strips out across the road that blow their tires? I know that's tricky because you got to make sure you're way up ahead of them and that the person doesn't see you do it, because especially this guy, as nimble as he is. When it comes to, again, my reporting's been on dirt bikes, which are obviously smaller and more vulnerable than motorcycles, but I know one of the reasons they have a no pursuit policy for dirt bikes is because you can't do things like that, Wendy. You can't use stop strips. You can't use some of the deterrents you often use in other high-speed pursuits. This may be trying to thread the needle here. We have a motorcycle, not as small and vulnerable as a dirt bike, but also not as sturdy and perhaps stop strip-able as a vehicle. Right, especially with someone who, as you said, is negotiating all of the different roads out there and negotiating the traffic, whether it's been stopped. I've seen him go through intersections where he doesn't have the light, and he's able to still, as you said, just thread the needle of the cars going through, and bam, then he hits it and floors it. I think people who commonly travel Route 7 in Loudoun County would tell you this bears no resemblance to traditional 5:35 p.m. traffic on Route 7 on a weeknight. This is far from rush hour. It's the nature of Veterans Day. It's the nature of a federal holiday. Of course, that gives openings, you know, for a pursuit. When you have a lesser traffic volume, you've got more potential and more flexibility to move through. But I believe we've been told by law enforcement they've been doing some blockades in certain areas on traffic to mitigate and minimize the risk to other drivers.
Yeah, we've seen that, Scott, where at times the driver is just driving unimpeded on relatively empty stretches of road. So you can see that there are points where police have been able to stop traffic and block it off.
He's about to, Chris, I believe he's about to pass an interchange or on-ramps to Route 15. So you're getting into that area of Loudoun County. If I know Loudoun County well, when you get closer to Route 15 and 7, you're getting to heavier volume areas. You're getting to more populous areas, have more trafficked areas. Okay, I'm hearing from our technical director, Tripp, to ask about a pit maneuver. Do you know what that is? No, but we'll try to find that out.
Well, maybe we should go interview Tripp in the control room.
Well, you can see right there, you can see that heavier traffic that Scott was just talking about, and you can see he has slowed down considerably compared to the speeds that he was at just a couple minutes ago. I'm not sure if there's any communication between some of the officers who are in pursuit and the motorcycle driver himself, but it appears to me that he is slowing down and the officers are slowly trailing him as he moves through this area, and he's just past that light, and there he goes again, making a left-hand turn and now going the opposite way once again. We saw this just about 5 minutes ago.
Pit maneuver, Wendy, would be a way where you force the operator of the vehicle being pursued to go sideways. Perhaps not to spill, but to take a sideways maneuver, which obviously stops you, at least momentarily, and gives law enforcement an opportunity to try to pin you against a door or just stop you by hand. So a pit maneuver would actually try to force you to go perpendicular to the way you want to go. Well, my goodness, now I'm wondering why they're not trying a pit maneuver. Motorcycles do change the game.
Yeah, you can see the difference in how nimble he is. When he gets to some of these intersections where there's a tremendous amount of traffic, he's just riding the lanes. I mean, he's cutting right down the middle, whereas some of the cruisers have to go around that traffic. So, you know, it's definitely a different situation than if they were, you know, in pursuit of a car that could get blocked up at some of these congested areas.
He's about to approach a pretty sharp turn here, and there's going to have to be, with the way the law enforcement's kind of husbanded next to him, he's going to have to try something relatively daring to get around this next turn. I think you're about to see it. You see, they're pushing him to the left turn only lane. Look how sharp this is.
Hey, that's
he's up, up, get around.
Now, call me crazy, but what would happen if they just gave up this pursuit? They have his license and just caught up with him later, rather than allowing this to create this kind of havoc over over all these miles in the community. What's the protocol on that? What if everybody just went back to their business and they went to his house and caught him later?
Though we were told that this was initiated because of a traffic stop or something that happened during a traffic stop, it's hard to know the other mitigating factors law enforcement saw during that traffic stop. Pursuits that begin with traffic stops often having what they call amplifying factors, other things that may have caused them to want to pursue. So it's hard to make that determination now. He, though, certainly seems to be going in either concentric circles or kind of retouching old ground here. We're seeing the same landmarks as this continues on and on.
Yeah, he's back on Route 7 again. As you said, he's almost sort of clover-leafing through the highway system out there. He's now traveling east on Route 7 again. And
when he goes east on Route 7, he does leave himself vulnerable to hitting a volume of traffic. We've seen that there are cars that do line up in this spot. And it slows him down, but it also changes the complexion of the situation for law enforcement.
Well, I think because I think it's almost easier for him when he has traffic.
Now stand by here. We're about to see some activity in the next 20 to 30 seconds. He's going to hit that volume of traffic. You see it there. He gets caught up, and either he's about to give up on the vehicle or he's out of fuel. So
I was going to ask how long a motorcycle goes before it runs out of gas.
Stand by for this. I'm watching this a bit ahead of you, so he's about to surrender this, but I want to make sure we want to show what's about to happen. You see him here slowing down. His speed is obviously decelerated. He pulls aside voluntarily, and these are empty lanes, and he's about to stop.
Oh, you're right. It looks like he's on empty.
He's calling it a day. You'll see cruisers come in from both directions.
He's kneeling on the. He's lying.
Yeah,
oh,
he knows exactly what to do. He's got his arms out.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if he prepared the choreography of a surrender.
You know, you have to tip your hat to law enforcement. I know that there are policies in terms of, you know, did they pull somebody over for a felony offense? Was it a DUI? So I know some of that are mitigating circumstances as to, you know, how and when they pursue, but you definitely have to tip your hat because they are obviously balancing the need to apprehend this man with the need to protect public safety and all those other drivers that are out there on the road.
Which is always the challenge when you are in a pursuit. Because we've seen pursuits throughout history here in this town, you know, turn out very tragically, and often for the innocent people who are just on the roads when the person is being pursued.
You know, it's interesting. You'll get a better look at this in a few moments, but you'll see the traffic to the right of this when you see the brake lights. They're just going on with their drive. I mean, there's quite a show happening to the left, but they're going to keep going on their way home this late evening.
Well, since, what was it, you know, 1994, I think we're just, we don't get that worked up about pursuits anymore after the...
Well, a lot of this took place, you got to figure the drivers who were right there when this ended, they probably had no idea of all that had transpired and all those roads leading up to that. They just saw a motorcycle kind of pull over to the side and think, oh, okay, the cops just picked him up.
We're going to take a quick break, and then Doug has a very cold forecast for you.